What is evaluation? What are its goals, characteristics, principles, and need and importance? Meaning of evaluation. Evaluation in educational setting is the process whereby we seek evidence that the learning experiences we have designed for students are effective. It is the process of determining the extent to which an objective is being attained, the effectiveness of the learning experiences provided in the classroom, how well the goals of the education have been accomplished. Evaluation is the most complex and the least understood term. Internet in the idea of evaluation is value. Generally, any evaluation process requires information about the situation in question. A situation is an umbrella term that takes into account such ideas as objectives, goals, standards, procedures, and so on. It is an analysis and judgment of the value of an educational input, process, and outcome. When we evaluate, we are saying that the process will yield information regarding the worthiness, appropriateness, goodness, validity, legality, etc. of something for which a reliable measurement assessment has been made. There are three terms which look alike. These are measurement, assessment, and evaluation. These three terms mean very different things. Measurement. It refers to the process by which the attributes or dimensions or characteristics of some objects are quantified. Quantity is always expressed in numerical term. Measurement is quantitative in nature. Measurement has two things: one is quantity, and second is unit of measurement. For e.g., age 15 years, weight 60 kilograms, height 6 feet, time 2 hours. Standard instruments like scale, thermometer, etc. use in measurement in order to measure the learning achievement of the student in different subject. We use test and exam and assign them marks or scores. Assessment is quite different from measurement. Assessment is a process by which information is obtained relative to some known objective or goal. Assessment is a broad term that includes testing. A test is a special form of assessment. Tests are assessments made under controlled circumstances, especially so that they may be administered. In other words, all tests are assessments, but not all assessments are tests. We test at the end of a lesson or unit. We assess progress at the end of a school year through testing, and we assess verbal and quantitative skills through such instruments. Assessment is most usefully connected to some goals or objective for which the assessment is designed. A test or assessment yields information relative to an objective or goal. In that sense, we test or assess to determine whether or not an objective or goal has been obtained. Assessment of skill attainment is rather straightforward. Skills are readily demonstrable. Skills can be practiced, understanding cannot. Evaluation. It is the systematic assessment of the worth or merit of some object. This definition is hardly perfect. There are many types of evaluation that do not necessarily result in an assessment of worth or merit: descriptive studies, implementation analysis, and formative evaluations. Hence, it can be modified as, evaluation is the systematic acquisition and assessment of information to provide useful feedback about some object. Both these definitions agree that evaluation is a systematic endeavor, and both use the deliberately ambiguous term, object, which could refer to a program, policy, technology, person, need, activity, and so on. The second definition emphasizes acquiring and assessing information rather than assessing worth or merit, because all evaluation work involves collecting and shifting through data, making judgments about the validity of the information and of inferences we derive from it, whether or not an assessment of worth or merit results. Goals of evaluation. The generic goal of most evaluations is to provide useful feedback to a variety of audiences, including sponsors, donors, client groups, administrators, staff, and other relevant constituencies. Most often, feedback is perceived as useful if it aids in decision-making. But the relationship between an evaluation and its impact is not a simple one. Sometimes it fails to influence short-term decisions, and the studies that initially seem to have no influence can have a delayed impact when more congenial conditions arise. The major goal of evaluation should be to influence decision-making or policy formulation through the provision of empirically driven feedback. Characteristics of evaluation. Evaluation is a comprehensive process. Evaluation is a global process. It assesses all aspects of child's development. There are different techniques which are used by the teachers to evaluate the performance of the child. Evaluation is a continuous process. Evaluation is a continuous process as education. It is not examination, but examination is a part of evaluating process. There is no fixed time limit for the completion of evaluation work. But it is a continuous process. Evaluation assesses academic and non-academic aspects. Evaluation assesses both the aspects while examination assesses only one aspect, i.e., academic aspect only. Evaluation is a procedure for improving the product. Evaluation is purpose-oriented. Functions of evaluation. Evaluation provides feedback to the pupils to know their own strengths and weaknesses. It creates a motivational effect on pupils and motivates them towards better attainment and growth. It encourages in building good study habits. Evaluation helps teachers in guiding the growth of pupils. It helps in locating the areas which require remedial measures. It helps the teacher in planning, organizing and implementing learning activities. It provides basis for revision of curriculum. It helps in inter-institutional comparison. It helps in assigning marks and reporting pupils' progress to their parents. Principles of evaluation. Determining and clarifying what is to be evaluated always has priority in the evaluation process. Evaluation techniques should be selected according to the purposes to be served. Comprehensive evaluation requires a variety of evaluation techniques. Proper use of evaluation techniques requires an awareness of both their limitations and strengths. Evaluation is a means to an end, not an end itself. Need and importance of evaluation. To fulfill classroom objectives. To diagnose learning difficulties of students. To determine readiness for new learning experiences. To form students' classroom groups of special activities. To assist students in their problems of adjustment. To prepare reports of pupils' progress. Factors responsible for successful evaluation. Sampling technique should be adequate and appropriate sampling procedure must be adopted. Evaluation itself must be well organized. Objectivity of the instrument should be ensured, i.e., feasibility of the investigation, reliability of the test. Validity test should measure what it is supposed to measure and the characteristics to be measured must be reflected. Rationale of the evaluation instrument. The format used must be the most economical and efficient. Teachers must have been adequately prepared. They must be qualified to teach the subjects allotted to them. Difference between measurement and assessment. Meaning. Measurement refers to the process by which the attributes or dimensions or characteristics of some objects are quantified. Assessment refers to the collection of all possible data and evidences with respect to learning of concept in a particular subject. Nature. Measurement is quantitative in nature. Assessment is both quantitative and qualitative in nature. Scope. It is narrow in scope. Assessment is broader in scope because it includes measurement. Aim. Its aim is to measure the learning achievement of a student in numerical term through various tests or exam. Its aim is to find out the learning difficulties, causes of learning difficulties, pace of learning, style of learning, etc. along with the aim of measurement. Process. Concept. It is a simple process. Also, it is very old concept. It is a one-step ahead process of measurement. Difference between measurement and evaluation. Meaning. Measurement refers to the process by which the attributes or dimensions or characteristics of some objects are quantified. Evaluation refers to the process by which all possible quantitative and qualitative information are properly collected and carefully analyzed before making any judgment regarding the learning status, progress of a child. Nature. Measurement is quantitative in nature. Evaluation is both quantitative and qualitative in nature along with value judgment. Scope. Measurement is very narrower in scope than evaluation. Evaluation is very wider in scope than measurement because evaluation includes measurement. Aim. Its aim is to measure the learning achievement of a student in numerical term through various tests or exam. Its aim to the value judgment made about the teaching learning process, taking into consideration quantitative and qualitative information collected on it over a particular period of time. Process. Concept. It is a simple process and it is very old concept. It is new and modern concept and it is advanced and technical process. Difference between assessment and evaluation. Meaning. Assessment refers to the collection of all possible data and evidences with respect to learning of concept in a particular subject. Evaluation is the process in which all possible information regarding the learning status or learning progress of a child, both quantitative and qualitative information, are to be properly collected and carefully analyzed before making any judgment. Nature. Assessment is both qualitative and quantitative in nature. Evaluation is both quantitative and qualitative in nature along with value judgment. Scope. Assessment is narrower in scope as comparison to evaluation. Evaluation is wider in scope as comparison to assessment. Aim. Its aim is to the collection of data and gathering of evidence from different sources through different tools. Its aim is to bringing meaning to the collected data through interpretation, analysis and reflection. Process. Concept. Assessment is a technical process and it is a new concept. It is also a technical process but it is more advanced than assessment. It is modern and advanced concept. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share for more videos.